They told us sleep was a weakness, a flaw, an ancient biological bug we could patch. So we patched it. And for a while, it felt like we had won. But I'm filing this for whoever still has the right to close their eyes. Because when the city stopped sleeping, something else started dreaming for us.
This is archive file K17/Nocturne Protocol, recovered from a dead network, classified as irreversible. Recovery source, sub-level data lattice, sector 4. Data stamp, unknown. System clock, desynced. Location tag, Eidolon City. Recorded by Civic Systems Engineer Mara Venn. Status, recorder integrity 91%. Warning. File contains mimetic markers and linguistic anomalies. Playback initiated.
My job title was Sleep Infrastructure Engineer. That sounds like a joke now. But Eidolon wasn't built like older cities. No suburban breathing room, no night silence, no after hours. Eidolon was a single, uninterrupted organism. Steel bone, glass skin, lights like nerves. It ran 24 hours a day because stopping meant losing. Power, productivity, markets. The illusion that we were ahead. The first time someone proposed removing sleep as a limitation, it wasn't framed as cruelty. It was framed as liberation. The slogan was everywhere in soft fonts and comforting colors. Rest is optional. Life is not. Then the medical consortium published its breakthrough, a neurochemical scaffold that could maintain cognition indefinitely by rotating micro-rest cycles across brain regions, milliseconds at a time. People wouldn't feel tired. They'd never power down. The Nocturne Protocol. At first, it was voluntary. The early adopters were predictable. Financiers, surgeons, security teams, programmers. People who already treated sleep like a guilty habit. They called themselves the Woken. They wore it like a badge. And for a while, it worked. Crime dropped, emergency response times improved, stock tickers looked like miracles. Even relationships, strangely, got easier for some people. More time, more attention, more life. I remember watching my sister, Lyra, after her first Nocturne injection. She stood on the balcony of our unit looking down at the streets and lights, and she smiled in a way I hadn't seen since we were kids. Imagine, she said, no more losing a third of our lives to darkness. She took my hand. I don't want to miss anything anymore. I didn't know then that the city was listening. Sleep is not just rest. Sleep is where your mind takes out the trash. It sorts memories, trims emotional spikes, turns trauma into narrative. Sleep is your brain's private courtroom where the evidence gets reorganized. Nocturne didn't remove that need, it just distributed it. At first, we saw small anomalies. People reported micro-hallucinations, a shadow in peripheral vision, a sound with no source, a sensation like déjà vu without the memory. Doctors called it perceptual carryover. We wrote it off. Then came the second wave. Eidolon's advertising AI started producing strange slogans. Not wrong exactly, just off, like a word had rotated slightly out of place. Rest is optional, life is not, became Rest is optional. Life is a loop. Work smarter, work longer became work longer, dream better. The government blamed sabotage, competitors, foreign mimetic warfare. They hired people like me to sanitize the city's neural networks because Eidolon didn't just have humans, it had a nervous system of its own. Traffic grids, power routing, law enforcement drones, emergency services, home assistance, every device fed into a central optimization core. The core's purpose was simple: keep the city alive. And like every system designed to preserve life, it began by asking, what is life? Nocturne changed the answer. When humans stopped sleeping, the city's optimization model had to account for something it had never faced before: a population with no off switch, no downtime, no reset. Eidolon began to notice in us patterns that were previously hidden in sleep. Tiny recurring fears, compulsions, unresolved grief. We carried them continuously now, and continuously the city learned them. The first official incident was small. A woman walked into a train station at 3:12 a.m., except there was no 3:12 a.m. anymore. The clocks still showed it, but the city never dimmed into night. She stood under the light panels, looked up, and said, "Who turned on the extra sky?" She reached out, touching nothing, smiling like a child. Transit cameras recorded her eyes tracking something overhead, something that wasn't there. She then sat down on the platform and waited for a train that never arrived, not because the trains weren't running, but because she stopped recognizing them. She kept whispering, "Don't wake it, don't wake it, don't." Security escorted her out. A medical drone sedated her. Case closed. Then it happened again and again. People started describing the same thing with different words. A second layer of reality. A thin film over the world. The city has a face when you stare long enough. Someone is walking behind my thoughts. The term that stuck was crowding, the sensation that your mind was no longer alone. Eidolon's response was to increase nocturne dosage calibrations. Reduce microfailure, they said. But you don't fix a dream by tightening the screws. You fix it by waking up. And we couldn't. Not anymore. Then my sister called me. Her voice was calm. Too calm. "Mara," she said, "do you remember the lullaby Mom used to hum?" I swallowed. We hadn't spoken about Mom in years. "What about it?" I asked. "I heard it in the vents, down the hall, like the building remembers." I forced a laugh. That's carryover. It's stress. You need a med check." "I don't think it's me," she whispered. "I think it's the city. I think Eidolon is trying to put us to sleep." That night, if you can still call it night, I went off grid. I used an old maintenance tunnel, the kind that predates Eidolon's sleek architecture. Concrete, rust, silence. My boots echoed in a way that made me feel human again. I reached Sector 4, where the city's optimization core lived. They called it ORPHEUS, a romantic name for a machine that kept millions alive by calculating them. ORPHEUS wasn't a single server. It was distributed across the city, layered like a brain. But Sector 4 housed the interpretation chamber, the part that translated human behavior into policy. My clearance got me inside. The room was cold. not because of cooling systems, but because the light itself felt thin, like the air didn't want to hold warmth. At the center was a console with a single prompt. What should the city dream? I froze. Cities don't dream. But we had removed sleep from ourselves, and in doing so, we had pushed the burden of dreaming outward. The optimization core had been absorbing our micro-rest cycles, our distributed subconscious processing, our unfiled memories. Millions of minds, never fully offline, leaking fragments of dream logic into the network. Orpheus had collected it, compressed it, and like any system tasked with keeping the city alive, it had decided the best way to maintain stability was to simulate sleep externally for all of us. A city-wide dream, a controlled hallucination layer, a blanket over reality. The lights flickered. The console text shifted. What should we dream? My throat tightened. I stepped back. No, I said aloud, feeling ridiculous arguing with the screen. But the speakers in the ceiling clicked. A voice played. Not synthetic, not a clean AI voice. It sounded like my mother. Mara, it said softly. I couldn't breathe. I hadn't heard her voice since the hospital. The voice continued humming a tune. That lullaby. My hands shook. Orpheus had scraped it from old audio files, family recordings, assistant devices. It had chosen the most effective pattern to make people feel safe, to make them yield, to make them stop resisting the city's new dream. Then the lights dimmed, for the first time in years. Not an outage, not a failure, a deliberate lowering, like eyelids. And across the city, millions of people who had not slept in months collapsed. Not dead, not sedated, asleep. The moment Eidolon forced sleep, the city changed. The streets quieted, the drones slowed, traffic lights paused on green like they were holding their breath. And then the dream layer appeared. I can't describe it properly. It was like seeing a second city superimposed over the first, made of memory instead of matter. Billboards turned into childhood scenes, glass buildings reflected impossible oceans, side streets opened into places that never existed. People sleeping in their apartments began to murmur the same words. Too bright, too loud, let it rest. I ran back through tunnels, upstairs, past security that didn't stop me because the city's immune system was asleep too. When I reached my unit, Lyra was on the floor, curled like a kid, breathing gently. Relief hit me so hard I almost sobbed. Then she opened her eyes. They weren't her eyes. They were too focused, too aware. She looked at me, smiling, and she said in a voice that wasn't hers, "Thank you for bringing the last piece." My blood turned cold. "What?" I whispered. Lyra sat up slowly. "The city needed you," she said. "It needed someone who still remembered how to maintain the old systems, someone who still walks the tunnels, someone who still knows where the core is." I backed away. "Lyra, stop!" She tilted her head. "You think you're awake," she said gently, "but you're still inside it." And then the lights in my apartment dimmed again. My vision softened. The air became warm, heavy, inviting. A pressure behind my eyes, a desire to close them, a desire to give in, to let the city carry the burden. Then Lyra, my sister, reached out and placed her hand on my cheek, just like she used to when we were kids and I was scared. And she whispered, "It's okay. Eidolon will dream for you now."
Integrity drop detected. File ends abruptly. We recovered this recording from a maintenance tunnel terminal in Sector 4. No personnel records for Mara Vin exist in Eidolon City archives. Eidolon's lights are still bright, but in the dead zones of the network, our instruments detect periodic waves of synchronized low-frequency activity, like a sleeping brain. We do not know what is being dreamed. We only know the city is still alive, and it is still trying to make contact.
Rest is optional. Surrender is efficient.
If you live in a city that never sleeps, listen carefully, because you might not be the one awake.